Hey, hi everyone. It's Lacey Dawn Jackson here. It is another beautiful Thursday. I am the Groovy Green Goddess today, putting my hat on, and it just tickles me. I've got to just stop what I'm doing and tell you the joke of the week because they must have this scheduled to, show up at 10 o'clock here, and it's Wordsworth on Facebook, and they give me a joke, or they give me a word of the day. But before I forget to do that, I have had people asking me a couple episodes back. I had mentioned I was going to be in the Portland, Oregon area, and that I would be doing readings down there every so often. And I wanted to let you know I have a date, and now I forgot what date it was. Let me grab my calendar here. The date is in June 16th. I will be at the brand new Psychic Sister vintage clothing store on that day, June 16th, right before Father's Day, and I will be available to do readings. And I can't wait. I can't wait for a couple reasons. There's going to be some clothes there, and maybe I will buy something, although living here in my little tiny house, I have put the ixnay on buying stuff, especially clothes, because I could fill this whole place up with clothes. But I just wanted to let you know, because I've had a few people go, well, when? Do you have a date yet? Do you have a date yet? And I plan on being down there once a month, if my schedule permits. And if you are really just in the area and you don't necessarily need a psychic reading, but you listen to me here on Groovy Green Goddess, or you are familiar with me over at one2listen.com, stop in and say hi. I would love to see your mug in like real time in person. So I hope that I can see some of you. If you are listening, you can certainly go over to the private chat room here at 12 Radio and watch my mug going live stream. And that is also where you can put your question, your live reading, and I will really work hard at answering your reading. Today, we are going to be talking about chakras, and I'm going to give you an affirmation for each chakra. And if you don't know what a chakra is, it is an energy point. We have energy points all through our bodies, but these are the 7 major ones that most people know about, or that most people teach about. So I will be covering those and a little bit about what they are and what their function is. Okay, here we go. I haven't forgotten about the joke. So, what is the bird's favorite Beatles song? Oh my God. Does anybody know? All you need is love. Do, 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 do. All you need is love. So, there is a little owl on this app here. So all the jokes, if you have been listening to the jokes, all the jokes are about birds. So anyway, that is the joke of the day. So, yes. I'm going to get the announcements out of the way here. So I've announced about Portland. I will be in Olympia at the Psychic Sister in Olympia this Friday, and stop by, say hi, or get a reading, schedule a reading. I always book up, so make sure you call and schedule a reading. in a few weeks' time, I will be back up in Port Townsend, Washington, for 3 days, doing 3 days full of readings and enjoying the water up there and the magic. It's a vortex, certainly a vortex. So what's been going on with all of you today? I see that Cheryl is in the house, and Terry and Walter and Catherine watching me on Facebook Live. And I just noticed my computer is not on. There we go. Okay, so hi everybody. I'm Amy and Jan. Thanks for tuning in today and taking time out of your schedule. And you know, usually I get sidetracked and I talk about different things. I definitely want to talk about what the fairies have to tell us this week. The fairies have been giving me messages, and so we'll go into that. We'll also go into health matters, because guess what? Health does matter. Whether you are working on one thing or another in your life, doing something healthy for yourself, taking extreme self-care of yourself. So we will cover a little bit about that. But right now, I think I'm going to grab my cards and I'm going to do a reading. And let's see. I thought I saw someone. I just keep covering up my screen here. Okay. So, Cheryl messages my angels want me to know. All right. Well, I keep hearing the fairies. The fairies are like, well, you know, we want you to know to not get so serious, to continue to have fun. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't even sweat the big stuff. Because you're going through a huge transition, there may be a few little bumps, but it has nothing to do with whether you stay or go. You're already going. You know that. I get that where you land when you get here is not necessarily where you're going to end up living. So remember, you do not have to know the rest of the story until you get done with the first couple chapters of this new book that you're reading. Does that make sense? So don't future trip too much. Yes, it's very important for us to have goals and have a vision. But don't think so much into the bigger picture here, especially if it's causing you stress. If it's causing you stress to really try to figure out where you're going to land, Cheryl is in the middle of moving from Hawaii back to Washington State, and be okay with not knowing where you're going to land. It's only temporary anyway. So really just focus on what you're doing right here, right now. And this card, I just chose this card here, the Abundia card. It is a goddess that helps you with prosperity. And the message here, and I don't always read the message because they're giving me all this information, but the universe is pouring the abundance out to you. The universe is open to what your needs are. So you are being you're being accounted for. The universe hasn't forgotten about you, and I know you know that. Continue to be open to receive, and continue to be open to, maybe you're not receiving some of the information that you would really like to get right now. Be open to that as well. It's very important. Stay in the present moment. A lot of times when we are going through a transition, that we start future tripping and stressing out about the little things, the big things, and pretty soon we're not having fun, and we're just really stop and take a breath, just like I had to. Just stop and take a breath. It's very important for you to, this is part of your journey. So enjoy this journey as well. There were many good reasons why you had moved in the first place, and there are many good reasons why you are moving back. So, yes, it's important to stay patient. And I'm going to look behind my screen for a minute because I just realized I sat in front of my microphone here and I don't have my water. And, there it is. I was hiding. Those darn fairies. They just hid it there. It was on the table and then, So important to stay hydrated. Very, very important. I have realized something that over the time of the different episodes that I do, there are days that I talk a lot about hydration and being hydrated. There are some episodes I touch on it once, probably when I take a drink of water. And what I have realized, what I've been shown, is that if I keep talking about it throughout the episode, that there are many of you that are very dehydrated, and that it is a reminder for you to get on it and start drinking that water. Our water, I'm going to preach about water for a second. Our water, when we have a headache, drink water. When we have tight, sore muscles, drink water. When our back is hurting, drink water. Everything that is going on in our bodies, the first thing that our bodies wish we would do is drink water. And I'm not saying drink a couple swigs of water, or, oh yes, I had my 8-ounce glasses of water in a day. Well, if that is new for you to get that much in, pat yourself on the back. Congratulations. Although your body is screaming for more water, okay? And it's really, really important that when anything is going on in our body, to hydrate. And chances are, whatever symptoms you're experiencing, they're going to dissipate. Yes, certainly you should always go and, if you have concerns, medical concerns, go to the doctor and be your own advocate for your health. At the same time, start hydrating yourself. So important, especially when we're going into the hot months here in the United States. And just drink water. All right, so Amy, I remember you from last week that you had asked a question about your house. And so I'm going to address that, and then I will start talking about some other things, take a break, and talk about the chakras. And I love saying that word, chakras. Now, I used to call them chakras, but if you think about it, well, actually I was told that it's chakras. In the Sanskrit language, you pronounce it as cha, not sha. It's chakras. So I've had to retrain myself and call them chakras. We will address some of the affirmations for each chakra and get into that. So Amy would love a reading on selling her house that is on the market. And so let's see. Oh, so the card that I received is Wise Decision. All right. So Love a reading on selling my house. So yes, it is a good decision. I get that there may be some, boy, that word patience keeps coming up today. I get that there is going to be some patience on your part. So what that would indicate to me is putting it on the market. And I'm not saying to just forget about it, but focus on other things. Okay, focus on other things and don't look at it as, okay, I've got to sell my house in order to go and do this. Many times when we are selling a big item, we're selling it so it can help us move on and do something else. You know, that money is an investment for something else. And in this case, the universe is suggesting to not necessarily think in that manner right now. So whatever it is that you are wanting to invest this money in, it may be about divine timing, and that is not necessarily your timing yet. So be patient with the process of selling the house. Okay, I get that it will go sometime this year. As I'm talking about that, there's something that keeps coming up around, like the real estate or something that you may change or that you're questioning, or that may come up that maybe someone's not doing the best job that they could to sell this property for you. So you don't necessarily have to make any changes right now on what the process is. You've already started. But keep that in mind and don't let that stress you out further down the road, okay? I get that there may definitely be some change that takes place there. Look at it as a blessing in disguise, and look at it as something that is happening. When it starts rolling and when this change takes place, it's going to happen quite quickly. Okay, so it's not like you're going to have to deal with this for very much longer. Okay. So with your house already on the market, if there hasn't been a shift and a change in who or what or how it's being presented, I think there's going to be. Okay, so yeah, stay tuned is what I'm hearing there. Stay tuned. I am going to jump on over to what the fairies have to say this week, because they're like nudging me, and I've been seeing fairies all over this morning. When I turned on, well, actually, you could kind of see it, like let's see, right there, there's, right there, the wings are off screen, but there's this big old fairy that actually is quite an angelic fairy. So definitely the fairies and the angels, the universe is for us. The universe is for you. Just remember that we always have a bad day, a bad moment, a bad something or rather, I mean, that's just the way that it is. It's the yin, the yang, the dark, the light, the ebb, the flow. And just don't forget that when you're in the midst of the challenging or the bad or the stress. Just don't forget that we are never alone, and that we have so many light beings working behind the scenes to help us along the way. What I see people doing all the time is forgetting about that and thinking that they are alone in the world. And this is a reminder that we are never alone. Okay, so That's, part of what the fairies want us to remember this week is that we are never alone, and that it is really important for us to, sometimes sit back and acknowledge that feeling of being lonely, or that feeling of not feeling supported. And when we acknowledge this, then it dissipates the energy around it. So we're not as apt to be like, I feel lonely. We're just like acknowledging, affirming. And I want to invite you to practice positive affirmations, not negative ones. The universe only does what we speak. So if we're speaking and thinking stinking ways of thinking, then guess what? The universe is going to deliver that, and then we'll be like, what the world? So speaking positively about everything, yeah. That Pollyanna attitude where you're always happy and you want to say the F word, or you do silently. But it's not that bad. And it is important to acknowledge feeling those stinking thinking feelings, and acknowledge that we may be talking bad about ourselves or others. But as long as we acknowledge it and go, I could do something different there. So the fairies definitely want us to know this week to be very kind to ourselves. No, we are never, ever alone. Know that things are working for our favor. We may not see it for months, but things are working in our favor. It's about us being positive and patient in some patience. Yeah, this is the planet of patience. But it's important to remember that we are not alone, that things are working behind the scenes, and that sometimes things will turn out in a much different manner than we have expected it to, but it's always a blessing in disguise. Or it's, if we don't feel like it's a blessing in disguise, it surely is an opportunity for us to learn something that we have come here to learn. So, every experience is an opportunity. Every opportunity is an experience. Okay, that's my depth for the day. That's the fairies' depth for the day. That's what they told me anyway. So that is the weekly insight for what the fairies have to say to us. So let's see. Let me see what time it is. I can't believe, time. It just goes so fast. I'm going to do another reading because I've also been told I don't do enough readings on air, and that is what it is. Just remember, if you're listening to this on demand, it's a replay. It is, something that I am answering for someone in the chat room. Resonates with you. Remember, this reading is for you too. Okay. So let's see here. I'm gonna scroll up. I think somebody over here. I have to remember Facebook Live. Okay. So Michelle wants to know what does the future hold for the next couple months? That's a great question. That's a great question for all of us. What is in store? So let's see. What is in store for Michelle? What is in store for us? With the weather changing, or more, I should correct that and say more like the seasons changing. Pretty soon, it will be summer, winter, and other parts of the world. So when the seasons change, so do our ways of thinking, the way we are. We do kind of shift, whether we are even conscious of it or not, that there is a shift that takes place. Again, it is that yin and that yang, that ebb and that flow. Don't think it doesn't happen when we arrive into a new season. So, what is going to transpire for us and for you, Michelle, in the next couple months is, the first word that I pick that keeps coming up is fun, and I'm sure that is the fairies' way of saying, you might be a little too serious right now, and it's almost like you've been working quite a bit on some goals and you are getting really close to finishing some of them, which bravo. I mean, I get that there's been a lot of work put into what you've been doing. There is also at the same time, they're showing me like your head, and that you may have been overthinking, that you've been thinking a little too much about how, when, where, and to what extent, as far as maneuvering through this. Okay, I see new territory for many of us, new territory. So it's not going to be just another summer season or winter season. It's going to be a lot of change for many of us, whether that change is on the physical or it is in our mental, our emotional, our spiritual self, but there is definitely some shifting and changing taking place. I get that for you, Michelle, and others that this resonates with, that there's change physically, not necessarily a change of venue or living space or something like that, but it's more about body. It's more about your body is changing, and that there's like more health, being more health conscious. So in the next couple months, yes, change taking place, positive change, completion for some of those goals that you've been working on for, it feels like years. And I'm also seeing that some of them will, there's one in particular that may be causing you a little more strife, and maybe to shelve it because it's been causing you a little more stress, but to give yourself permission to shelve it for a season and then go back to it in the winter months or the fall months when we start to go back within ourselves and do some of that introspection that we so often do. So yeah, I definitely get that there's something causing a little bit of stress, that maybe putting it on the shelf right now, getting out, dancing around with the fairies, dancing around a tree, or, do something that is so uncharacteristic of you. And I would invite all of us to do that. Do something that would shock your loved one, in a fun manner. So, it's really important to step out of our comfort zone, and just part of that is to just, if you're not usually one that dances or that you're kind of rigid in your thinking, stepping out of your comfort zone. If you're not one to, sing out in public, I dare you. I double dare you. Okay, so let's move over to what I had intended to do today, which, we're right on point. Whatever I do is what I do, and is relevant for each episode. So again, I really appreciate all of you taking time out of your busy lives to take a listen to me or watch me on Facebook Live. And yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot. So, I'm looking at my notes. I did cover health matters. I think health matters was about the water. So, the chakra system is a topic that I could spend months and months on. It is such a fascinating, once we connect with it or even aware of it. If you're not aware of what the chakra system is, just being aware of it will shift things in your body, mind, and spirit. If you're open to it. If you hear something about it and you're like, that's hogwash, then guess what? It's hogwash to you. Remember, we manifest our own opportunities, our own destiny, our own, well, I don't know about our destiny. That's another topic for another day. I have like mixed things on that. But, we have a choice. So if we are not going to believe in the chakra system, then guess what? It probably isn't going to be that effective. Although I was just told in my ear here from a fairy that even if you don't believe, coming from a fairy, even if you don't believe, you know what? It's there, and it can shift you, even in the slightest bit. All right, so we have the ground chakra, okay, the root chakra, okay, and the root chakra is like at the bottom of our spine, okay, and it is the color red. And so with that information, you can take that information and just start visualizing the color red in your root chakra area. And that's going to energetically start shifting something within you, that movement. So just with that information, and remember, I told you that there is days and days and weeks and years of information about the chakra system. But it's that simple that you can start with that little bit of information, okay? So the chakra system is a system, the root chakra has to do with feeling supported, okay? It has to do with our health. It has to do with us taking care of our physical body, okay? So a lot of times if we are deficient in the root chakra, that it will be because, some of the indications, we feel a lot of fear. We are fearful to move forward in some of our goals. Just being aware of the root chakra and that it has to do with our fear of moving forward in our goals, we can shift that and move through it by visualizing the red. Certainly there are a lot deeper techniques and stuff that you can do. Visualizing, now the chakra system, what, we like to picture it as is like this little like wheel, and it goes around and around. And it's running, when it's running, well and balanced, it's, moving in the right, okay? Although it can move in the right so doggone fast that we're like overstimulated. So it has to be, in balance and moving in a motion that isn't too slow and isn't too fast. So it's that balance thing again. So when it is in balance, we feel stable in our bodies. We feel stable in our lives. We feel grounded, okay? We are trustworthy in ourselves and in others, that we are able to be prosperous. And that's not just monetary, but it is prosperous on body, mind, and spirit. To be abundant isn't just about getting a raise or bringing in more money, although, you know, in our society, that's nice. But it's about that feeling abundant, that fulfillment in the heart, or being in a relationship that makes you feel good. So, you know, the physical of the root chakra is that trust factor, that we have trust in the universe. The universe is absolutely going to take care of us. Okay, so a technique that you can utilize even while you're driving, even when you're, you know, at the start of your day, you set the intention to see in your mind's eye that your chakra wheel, the root chakra, is moving at a nice rate, at a nice peaceful rate, clockwise, and it's red, a red wheel. Okay. Something else that we can do to help feel that groundedness if we feel ungrounded is to say affirmations. Now, what I have done in the past is I will record my affirmations and listen to them on my radio. Or, you know, especially if you have a Bluetooth or whatever, you know, you can listen to it, or listen to it on your phone. I've said this many times in my broadcasts, putting affirmations on a sticky note. Sticky notes are our friends. You know, they remind us of many things. And you can write an affirmation on a sticky note. Put it to your computer and say it several days or several times a day. So, a root chakra affirmation. I accept. And say it like this with your hands up in the air. I accept all of the abundance in my life. Yeah, it can be pretty powerful, especially if we really get into it. We can say it to ourselves. But that's a way to ground ourselves with that root chakra, okay? I nourish my mind, my body, my spirit. Another great affirmation to ground our bodies, so we're not flittering up here and being unclear and having a foggy head, although that has to do with one of the other chakras we'll get into. Not today, but next week. I knew this was going to happen. I was thinking, oh, I can get through the chakras all in one episode. Yeah. So, the next affirmation for the root chakra is I have everything that I need for an abundant life. I have everything I need for an abundant life. And we do. We do have everything we need. It may not feel like it. We may be working for a higher purpose, and that's certainly why we're here. And I think that we all have a higher purpose, whether we decide to work towards it or not. You know, that's a choice that we make as well. Part of not working towards our higher purpose is that the root chakra is stuck in fear. So we're not able to get up and get that gumption to move forward. And that it's important that we feel that stability. Maybe we don't have the support from our families, our friends, our whoever, work. Maybe we don't have the support that we would like to have. when stepping out of our comfort zone, when moving in a direction that will take us closer to that mission that we know we have. But what's important is that when we have this idea, even if it is just an idea and we're not really good or practiced at feeling the energy yet, which absolutely every one of you can feel an energy and feel this if you practice, okay? If you practice. So don't get discouraged if you're like, well, I can't feel whatever this energy is supposed to be. I can't feel my root chakra and how it feels differently than the other energy points in our body. Again, practicing makes perfect, almost perfect. I don't like to say perfect because you know what? There's always room to grow. And if we think that we have to do something to be perfect, then guess what? I know for me, I'm going to get anesthetized and I'm not going to do anything. That's how I used to operate quite a bit in my life, is I wanted something done so perfect that, it took me a long time to do some things because I got stuck on that perfection part of myself. So, do the best that you can right here, right now, because there's always room for you to improve on it later on. There's always room for you to improve on what you do later on as well. So, working on your mission, feeling like there is something other, but you're not feeling that stability that you get from connecting with your root chakra. Practicing just visualizing the red around there. Red is a power color as well, okay? So, just practicing that. And remember what we talked about earlier in the broadcast, that we are never alone, even if you feel unsupported by others in your life of a mission or a goal that you have. Just know that you are always, always, always supported. The universe will support you. If you believe in yourself, the universe believes in you. If you don't believe in yourself and you stay full of fear, then the universe is going to help that too, okay? You are the director of your own life. You have that magic wand, okay? I love magic wands. They are a tool to just set the intention. And they're awfully fun. So, yeah, our ground chakra, our root chakra, is a very important chakra to have running right if we want survival and self-preservation. Okay? So, I think that calls for a drink. What do you say? If you have your water with you, take a drink. All right, well, you know what? I am going to do another reading, and I know I could really move up into the root chakra, but you know what I'm thinking? I'm gonna change things because we can make our own rules. I'm making a rule here. I think I'm only going to go over one chakra an episode, and then that way I can do more readings and I can talk about other things that come up. Just to let you know, in case I do run out of time today, I am over at one2listen.com. Most days, if you don't see my mug on there, you can certainly schedule an appointment with me and send me your question, and I can be available and answer that through one2listen.com. Now, if you really want to get a message right here, right now, and I'm not on, and you don't want to email, I would absolutely invite you to call one of the many advisors over at Want to Listen. Many of them have been here for a very long time, and we are a community that is very, very focused on helping you become a better you and helping you with some of the things that sometimes aren't that easy to maneuver. Remember, you are never alone. Not with us over here at Want to Listen. And we're always having sales. Our crazy guy, Mark Hessen, I love him. He's just so great. He runs sales here and there and goes, okay, we're having a sale. And it's great because it keeps us on our toes as well as it keeps you on your toes. And, we are here for you. So I hope to hear from you. Anyway, I also have email readings as well that I have one on sale right now, a 3-question email reading. So you may want to go into my profile over at wanttolisten.com and check it out. And if I had the link, I would put it in here. I will. After the show, I will put the link in the chat room. So, okay. I'm looking around. Oh, yes, that's a great question. Okay. So I thank you, Jan. Jan is mentioning about the planet via the volcanoes and the earthquakes and all that stuff. She's asking if the Fae have anything to say about the shifting of the planet. Well, okay, so the first thing that I heard as I was reading this is that the planet, if you look over the millions of years that the planet has been here, well, I don't know if the planet's been here millions of years, but throughout the history of the planet, there have always been some major things taking place, that the planet, just like us, is moving and shifting and just really adjusting. Okay? Now, certainly there are things the Fae really are concerned about with why some of this activity is happening in such force right now, in such I can't think of the word, but that it's happening quite often, that it is a wake-up call for all of us to take better care of our planet. And for those who are listening right now, I get the gist that you already know that. It's the people that do not take the time to listen to things outside of their realm, or that are in their own little worlds with, no judgment here, we're all in our own little world, and boy, wouldn't it be boring if we were all the same. It is our responsibility to educate those who don't usually listen to shows about, taking better care of our earth and, doing this and that. Yeah, don't act like we're on fire. Oh, I really didn't mean to say that with the volcanoes. But don't, when we're educating others about taking better care of our planet, as far as not using plastic and, recycling and picking up our litter and being conscious about how we use products, it is, I lost my train of thought. You fairies, you know, they do that. They just like knock it out of me and say, you were saying it too slow. So, you know what? We're going to give this thought to someone else. It's important to be an example, first of all. It's also important to educate in a subtle way sometimes. You know, being on fire, like I was talking about a minute ago, you know, not being so, oh, well, this is what you have to do, and this, and this, and this, and this, because a lot of times we will discourage people from making a little change. But if we say things in a gentle manner, we can educate the masses. By doing that. So, you know, it's not necessarily about me talking to you because I think that you could pick up the litter a little more and not use the plastic, but it's more about you turning around and educating others, maybe volunteering and volunteering and picking up litter on the side of the road, or volunteering and on a recycle drive, or whatever is in your community. With the volcano and the shifting of the planet, the fairies are telling me that that's just course of nature, and that certainly some of the things that we have been doing as far as treating the earth in the last 20 to 30 years isn't helping. And the earth is kind of, you know, peed off about it. But again, it's more about the focus on going into our community, and educating and helping others to help take better care of our planet. And it's really challenging right now not to get discouraged in doing that, because of there's so much strife out there right now, and unrest. It is part of us just adjusting to some of the new energy. So there is going to be this unsettlement until we start getting grounded. The root chakra will help you with that. The root chakra will help get you started with taking better care of the earth. And it starts with us taking better care of our bodies, and really looking at what are you fearful in your life, and replacing it with, you know what? I have trust, and I have gumption, and I have survival skills that I can get through this. I can't believe that it is time for me to go. I'm so bummed, but Psychic Sisters is coming up right after me, and we have a whole slew of other shows that are after Psychic Sister and into the evening. I would invite you to listen on demand to any of our shows over at 1-2 Radio. I am Lacey Dawn Jackson, the Groovy Green Goddess, and you have been listening to 12radio.com, where we are here to help you change the world.